Hello, and welcome to Freightmaster Resources. My name is Tim, for those of you who have not been here before. And in today's video, I want to talk about freight shippers, okay, and different types of freight shippers, acquiring freight shippers, and building relationships. I've been getting quite a few requests from people through Facebook and different platforms and things, and through my network, in regards to getting started as a freight broker or a freight agent, getting their first shipper, and continually building your book of business and things like that. And I believe right now is a really great time to be a freight agent, or getting your own authority and becoming a freight broker. Obviously, a lot of that comes, getting your own authority and things should come with some prior experience. I've met quite a few here lately, no background in transportation whatsoever, but they're out there trying to make it happen. And before we get into everything, guys, hey, without you, I would not be here doing these videos. And so don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit that bell notification, so that you get notified when I do these videos. So, different types of freight shippers. Actually, let me back up here just a little bit. When you are reaching out to a freight shipper, I know that a lot of you, kind of run into this sort of headlong without really knowing a lot of, how to approach freight shippers. And, you're more or less kind of like this guy, you just, give me some freight, give me some freight. It's not really quite how it works. Unless you're dealing with a freight shipper that really doesn't care who you are, and they are out there. They just, they've got a list of, 50 to 100 brokers that they work with. They've got carriers, and they don't pay anything. And they're more or less kind of like this guy. They've got a huge network of brokers, and it's more or less, it's going to be like bid type freight. It's sort of a race to the bottom, even in this market, which is kind of surprising. Their freight does move, but, as a broker, your margins are going to be horrendously low, and you just won't survive. You're going to end up spending so much time trying to move their freight that it's just not going to be very advantageous for you. In fact, I have a fairly large freight shipper currently, and they have quite a bit of freight, but there again, it's all bid. In fact, I had them the other day agree to a rate, and I said, okay, send it over. Again, margin was not great, but I was kind of working on it, sort of breaking my norm. I know better, but I was going to do it anyway. And then they ended up pulling the load from me because apparently somebody came in with a lower bid. Now, usually when that type of thing happens, usually I'll get hey Tim, do you still have that truck? Can they maybe pick up Monday? Kind of a scenario. Probably a new broker figured that they could, find a truck for that rate. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But more times often than not, they don't. Let's just kind of go over this real quick. This overview. Finding your point of contact for the transportation, right? So you're calling XYZ company. Maybe they ship steel bar coils, okay? Just for instance, you're going to want to maybe check LinkedIn, or something, and try to find out who that transportation manager is. or that shipping manager, whatever their title is. They're basically the same thing. It's just, worded a little bit differently. You're going to call and ask for them, find out what their needs are, equipment type, if they have any other special requirements. And then you're, going to kind of discuss with them, at least briefly, what you can offer them. Maybe they're out of St. Louis, Missouri. You already have a network of carriers that, flatbeds, step decks, that and the like, all open deck. And, maybe you've got 6 to 9 trucks, within 20 miles of their location every week. And so, you let them know that you've provided capacity. And right now, if you've got that, right now, because we are in a low capacity situation, more often than not, that shipper's probably going to say yes. You're going to get a yes. It might not be on the first phone call. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it isn't. You may have to do follow-ups. Hey, I just wanted to follow up with you in regards to, getting set up. I've still got these trucks, delivering, looking for reloads, and that kind of a thing. And then duplicating that process, at least 500 times a week. I can't tell you the number of times that I talk to, whether it's new agents or new brokers, they're like, Tim, I've been working on this for 2 or 3 months, and, I still don't have a customer yet. And one of the first things, again, and I've said this before, guys, how many calls are you making a day? Well, I probably made 15 or 20 calls today. Well, no, that's not going to cut it. There again, the old school rule of thumb is you want to be making at least 100 calls a day. You should be picking up 1 new customer a day, right? Or having, or at least at a minimum, getting a follow-up with them. Maybe that initial phone call is, hey, I don't want to take up too much of your time. Just kind of wanted to introduce myself, let them know, what kind of capacity that you're offering them. There again, going back to the example of, I've got 6 to 9 trucks, within 20 miles of you every week. That kind of a thing. It kind of comes down to research. Maybe they've built a new facility. Maybe the facility in St. Louis, Missouri is our example. They just finished building it, or they're in the process of building it. That would be a perfect time to start reaching out. And letting them know, hey, I noticed that, you're building a new facility there in St. Louis. I've got, 6 to 9 trucks that are there, every week, and looking to get set up, and because before that facility goes operational, they're already looking for brokers and carriers, and they'll start kind of that process. So, and it always helps when you present yourself as, that you've done the research on them. You've done some background research on them, and, the fact that that they've got that new facility, or maybe it's just an expansion, of an existing facility, a remodel or something. That's gonna say a lot to them, that you've done your research on them. Next thing is, guys, caution. Do not let yourself get in the habit of negotiating on price. Okay? Going back to my example on, race to the bottom bid kind of a thing. We want to negotiate based on service. Negotiating on price might lead to more freight in the short term. However, it may be freight we can't cover or at substantially lower margins, right? Kind of going back to what I was saying earlier. Sometimes it's okay to do that. Your customer gets into a jam and, maybe the market jumped overnight and it's, a few $100s more than it was, yesterday or a few days before, and they're on a bit of a budget. It's okay to help them out, every once in a while to, maybe even break even on a load, or, lose a little bit of money on a load to get that covered. If they're offering you, enough freight and you are making enough money, off of that freight. Sometimes it's okay to do that to get your foot in the door. Just don't make it a habit. Don't make it your number one tool, right? The bottom line is you're going to be calling a lot of people, right? Going back to that 500 a week, 100 calls a day, a minimum. Practice, experiment, with, how your approach, your cold call. Find out what works best for you. In time, you'll learn to read the personality of the person, and it'll happen instantaneously, right? That will kind of dictate your approach to them. And it's kind of a quick example, just a short little example of, cold calling is, introduce yourself. Hi, my name is Tim with XYZ Company, or whoever you're with, obviously. I was calling about your plant in Atlanta, Georgia. We currently have 4 to 6 trucks weekly delivering in the Atlanta area, and I was wondering if you had any outgoing freight that we could help you with. Right? You've already told them that you've got capacity, and you're looking for freight. And if you've got that consistently, maybe they're not a real big shipper, and those, they only ship 4 to 6 loads a week. Perfect. You could be their dedicated broker or carrier. If you're a carrier out there looking for direct freight. And, you get that yes, and then the transportation manager, more or less kind of, you're the one to get this freight. I thought some of these pictures were kind of funny, guys, so I just, kind of used them in the video here. But yeah, the number one thing, guys, with this, different types of freight shippers, obviously some are going to be better than others, and learn to distinguish that. Don't let, basically a cheap shipper, take up too much of your time. I've got some customers myself. They call me every 20 minutes, and it's kind of redundant, and it's, they're just not very well organized. You've got, 5 or 6 people, all rechecking on the same thing, and it's just, it really gets to be so time consuming. And they don't ship a lot of freight with me. Sometimes it's, a little bit more during some weeks than others, but they pay decent, right? They kind of understand the market, and for that, I continue to work with them. Guys, everything that I'm talking about, there's links to everything down in the description below. If you need anything else, if you guys are looking for consultation and you'd like to speak to me personally, you can email me at freightmasterresources@gmail.com, or reach out to me through the contact form on either one of the websites, freightbrokerresources.com or thetruckersresource.com. And there's a lot of things on there, guys. Some of the other things that I get people, that maybe you just got your authority, like quite a few examples, and they either went through some training, didn't take any training, and they don't really understand how they need to pay their carriers. They think that they'll get paid from their shipper, and then they pay the carrier. Well, some shippers are, paying, 30 to 60 days. Carriers expect to be paid within 30 days or less. So there again, you're going to need a good freight factoring company, invoice factoring company. I've dealt with a bajillion different freight factoring companies out there. There is information on that on the websites for carriers and for brokers. So, check it out. There's no obligation. You talk to them, find out what works best for you. Both of those factoring companies are very transparent. They'll go over everything in detail with you. Really, really, really great companies. right? If you're looking for, different sales pitches, qualifying questions, things like that to look at, that's all on there. There's freight news, load boards. I prefer DAT over all of the others. I think it's a lot more user friendly. Maybe just my personal preference, but through them, I'm able to offer the 30-day free trial. Check them out. Hopefully, you guys, stay on as a continued subscriber with them. But yeah, really, really great load board. I find the most success with DAT personally. Just a wealth of information on there for you guys. Training. If you're, let me talk about training for a brief moment before I shut this video down. Years ago, when I first got into this, little quick backstory on me for those of you that don't know, I was a single father of 3 at the time. I was working nights, taking care of the kids during the day, getting them off to school, yada, yada, yada. And then I found out about freight brokering. I could work from home. And I thought, wow, that would be awesome. And honestly, I was a little leery in the beginning. But I found some online training I could, learn from home and everything. And it was beneficial, filled in a lot of those gaps that I wasn't even aware of, but a lot of it was just like legal mumbo jumbo. There wasn't really much substance to it, really. So like when I finished the course, got my first job as a broker agent, there was still a lot of gaps that I had to fill in. I had never been in sales before. I didn't know how to approach freight shippers. I didn't know how to talk to carriers or anything. So, I still had like a lot of research and things that I had to do on my own. And it honestly, it took me a few weeks before I picked up my first customer. But, I was very, very diligent at it. And if you're not, you're not going to make it. But we've got an opportunity for freight broker training, probably one of the most comprehensive freight broker training out there. It's very, very reasonably priced, a lot cheaper than the one that I went through. Some of the freight broker training out there can run, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, and things like that. They don't really provide you with a lot. There's a whole list of things that this freight broker training goes through for you, and honestly, you'll be a lot further ahead at the end of it than I was, when I went through my training. So if you're looking for training, or maybe you finished a training and you're going, geez, this still just is not cutting it, and you need kind of a refresher course, something a little bit more complete, definitely check this out, guys. Like I said, just a bunch of resources. That's why the name of this channel is Freight Master Resources, right? Kind of providing you guys with tips, tricks, and different things that I've researched and others, and kind of compile a lot of this information for you. Some people are, just aren't aware of some of these things out there to them, or which one's the right one. That kind of a thing. If you're a truck driver, a carrier, guys, because we are asset-based, I haven't forgot about you. Maybe you're, looking to get into being a driver. We've got lists of schools in every single state in the union. There's freight factoring for you as well. TMS, news, contact form. If you have any questions, need to reach out to me or anything, there again, Freightmaster Resources at gmail.com, or use the contact form. Just a bunch of stuff there, guys. And I try to update and add new information on there when I get time. But yeah, guys, if you like this video, don't forget, give it a like, give me a thumbs up. And as always, I thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you that follow the channel. And as always, be kind to one another. Thanks. Talk to you soon.